What is up, guys? Blue Sun Jrpgs here, bringing you my latest Jrpg video. This is going to be my top 5 Final Fantasy games. Final Fantasy is without a doubt the largest Jrpg series, and definitely one of the most defining video game series in general. And there are so many great games to choose from, but these are my top 5, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But checking in at number 5, it's Type 0 HD. This, of course, is a remake from the original PSP version that came out a few years earlier. Now, up until the release of Final Fantasy 15, it's hard to believe that this was the only Final Fantasy available to us on the modern gen of consoles. And I actually didn't really hear much about this game at all. I went into a GameStop, and I basically just asked them, are there any Final Fantasy games out on the Xbox One? And this is what they recommended to me. I think I got it for like 15 bucks at the time, and it was definitely worth it. There is no Final Fantasy game, and very few games in general, that have such a wide array of characters, playable characters, I should say. And every single one of them is so different. They all use very different styles of combat, and I thought the gameplay was very enjoyable. It's probably, for that very reason, it's probably the least repetitive JRPG I've ever played. And that's saying something. The only thing holding this game back is the graphics. For sometimes it renders between PS4 and PSP graphics, which is really strange, but that's here nor there. You can't win them all. Number 4 is Final Fantasy VI. I know a lot of people right now are probably flipping out because Final Fantasy VI came in at 4th place. But that's the thing about this series, guys. There are so many great games. This easily could have been higher. In my opinion, this is the greatest 2D Final Fantasy, and one of the greatest 2D RPGs in general. What an amazing game, guys, for the Super Nintendo. One of the coolest parts of this game, and one of the reasons I think I love it so much, is that it was steampunk. Where the previous Final Fantasy games were basically all set in like medieval times, this one really kind of changed the script. And it really separated the games in Final Fantasy. You see, moving forward nowadays, every single Final Fantasy game is different. And this really was the first one, in my opinion, to take a major jump in separating itself from the prior games. That's something that's really awesome, because it allows Final Fantasy to go out there and create a new plot for every single game that they want. And I really enjoyed Terra as a main character as well, too. A lot of people don't like her, but I think she's definitely one of the best characters in Final Fantasy. But then again, I do like Lightning, so maybe my opinion on Final Fantasy characters isn't that great. But I do think she's awesome. Number 3 is Final Fantasy Tactics. A very different game you guys will know from pretty much every other Final Fantasy game that's ever come out. Now, you guys will know from a lot of my previous videos that I'm a massive fan of strategy or tactical RPGs. So maybe I'm a little biased to this game and I put it a little bit higher than most people would. But I definitely think this was an awesome game. And I think it was actually one of the best strategy RPGs ever made as well. And this really goes to show you that when Square Enix puts their money and their time into a game, there are very few companies, no matter what type of game it is, that can rival them. It's that simple. Very few companies have the production prowess, I guess if you want to say, that Square Enix has. Now, I think the most underrated part of this game is the story. A lot of people kind of look at strategy RPGs, and they kind of think they're just strategy. There's no story behind them. But make no mistake, this game had one of the best stories there was. Ramza and Delita, I think, are two of the best characters in the whole series. I know I probably butchered their names, they're probably gonna kill me for that, but I definitely love them. I love this story, and I think it's definitely one you guys should pick up if you haven't already played it. Number 2, Final Fantasy 15. I think this is probably going to be one of the biggest shocks on the list for a lot of people. But you know what? I love this game. I thought it was really fantastic. When Final Fantasy is at its best, it's innovative. This was a JRPG like any JRPG I've ever played before. I'll say that. I've never seen a JRPG take the world openness the way this one has. It really modernized the genre, in my opinion. I think this game did great things for as far as opening up Final Fantasy and opening up people to JRPGs in general. because that really is Final Fantasy's role in the genre. Final Fantasy has always been that one game that can attract people outside of the JRPG community. Even games like Persona, they're just unable to get the normal gamer, the average gamer, into JRPGs the way a Final Fantasy can. I know people who don't even play JRPGs, people who just play sports games, who picked up Final Fantasy 15 because it looked awesome. And that really is the greatness of the Final Fantasy series. And no game encapsulates that as well as this game right here. And number one, of course, could only be Final Fantasy VII. You guys know how much I love Final Fantasy VII. Probably the favorite game of most Final Fantasy fans. Cloud, Tifa, Barret, Aeris, such an amazing cast of characters. I think it was the best story. There's definitely some other good stories as well, so I'm not gonna knock any of those. But I think it was the best. This was the first game in the series that went to 3D as well. That was a big deal. A lot of people might knock that nowadays, but being able to go to 3D successfully was huge, because that was the future of video games. I personally think that maybe they could have waited one more game. Maybe Final Fantasy VII could have gone to 2D, but ultimately the 3D was a pretty good choice. Obviously, you guys know this is an absolutely classic game. Probably the best part about the game, in my opinion, other than the awesome story, is the combat. Maybe my favorite turn-based combat game there is. I absolutely loved it, and definitely one that's going to stand the test of time and last for the ages. In some honorable mentions, there were so many Final Fantasy games that could easily have been on this list. I'm sure you guys are screaming at me right now. But the two that come to mind for me, the first one is the original Final Fantasy. I was born in '92. I obviously didn't play the original Final Fantasy when it came out, but I played it for the PSP, and I love the game for its simplicity. That's one of my favorite RPGs to this day. Even I go back and play that all the time just because of how simple it is. And the second one is Final Fantasy 13. Final Fantasy 13 gets ripped on by a lot of people, and it definitely is a linear game. I definitely don't like that to some extent, but I think it does a lot of things very well. I thought the game was beautiful for the time. Beautiful. But that's my list, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what games I missed. Let me know how stupid I am. All that good stuff, guys. Alright, peace out.